Hello everybody, I'm Kelvin Hawthorne, and sorry about the background right now, I'm at home. Um, so, basically what I'm here to talk about is the other day, the National Weather Service anticipated a severe weather outbreak, including tornadoes, severe wind, hail. Well, the other day, we the storms did not materialize as they were supposed to be. I mean, we had a few isolated severe thunderstorms here and there, but there wasn't as many as anticipated. And that's because some of them didn't materialize. And we're going to talk real quick about that. Okay, so a potential weather event was on Monday, July 13th. It never materialized. So what happened? The storms didn't develop as expected, but first let's review the basic ingredients for severe thunderstorm. You need moisture, instability, wind shear, and a triggering mechanism. And first, the moisture. It was very moist. We had a lot of moisture. There were very high dew points, as you know, if you live in the Illinois area. We had heat advisories, excessive heat warnings over west into Iowa. Temperatures were in the low 90s and reaching heat index values of around 100 to 116 in some areas. Anyway, moving on to next, we needed instability, and instability is really needed to generate thunderstorms. An unstable air mass exits when a parcel of air remains warmer and more buoyant. Then it surrounds the environment, thus able to continue rising on its own like a hot air balloon. And basically that means when you see the clouds rise up into the sky when a storm is happening. And actually, the other day, since we had instability, you could actually sit there and watch the clouds rise. And it was actually pretty cool. I tried to do a time lapse, but it didn't work out for us. And you also need wind shear, and wind shear acts as a tilt as a storm's updraft, such as is able to maintain itself for a long period of time. It's also enhances rotation with the storm, which can turn lead to the development of a tornado. The combination high instability, strong low-level shear, and the key indicator that for the potential of a severe weather outbreak, as can be seen from surrounding above. Winds at the surface were from the southeast at around 10 knots, but then veered to the west-northwest, increased at 50 knots at about 15,000 feet aloft. This represents strong low-level wind shear within the environment. For more information of wind shear, you can also look that up on Google, as well as Bing or anything you use. Now, the one ingredient we did not have is something called a forcing mechanism, and that's the final ingredient for a thunderstorm, is a forcing mechanism. In other words, it's something to get the air pushed upward. This is often a frontal boundary, an outflow boundary in the previous convection, or simply a thermal of warm air on a spring or summer afternoon. Well, on Monday, the expected forcing mechanism for the afternoon and evening severe weather outbreak was an inflow boundary left behind by a large complex of storms that was dropped from northern Illinois into Indiana during the morning. The 11 a.m. surface map below shows there's a map that you can look at, and I'll post that. I'll give you guys the link to this I'll give you guys the link to this below. And the surface map shows the southernmost position outflow was reached basically from just north of Galesburg to Lincoln and south of Paris. Note, prevailing southwesterly winds ahead of the outflow, while winds behind the boundary had switched off to the east-northeast. And it shows a few diagrams, and remember, I'll post a link to this in the below. Well, it kind of shows a line of where those outflow boundaries were, and none of the storms really reached that area, is kind of what it's trying to say. So, you know, and there were several reports in Illinois. Don't get me wrong, there were some severe thunderstorms, and there was a hail reports from Jones County down to around Stark County, Illinois. Wind report near Putnam and Bureau County, as well as a hail report in Bureau County. Other wind reports were up in Boone and McHenry County, Illinois, as well as Cook County. There were some hail reports and wind in Kankakee, as well as down into Sangamon and areas like Adams to Montgomery, and there were also hail reports across counties in Indiana and as far to the southeast as Kentucky. Also, a tornado report in Benton County, Indiana. That's the only one that's on this map. So, as you know, storms did fire yesterday. A few of them were severe around the Quad Cities area, but none made their way into there, and I kind of just summed up the reason why. So for a thunderstorm, severe thunderstorm to form, you need moisture, instability, wind shear, and a triggering mechanism. Now, it had everything but the trigger mechanism, moisture, instability. It had wind shear, which tornadoes were possible, but you have to have a forcing mechanism to pop those storms up. So basically, what it's saying is it needed something to help develop the storms a little more, but we really didn't have anything to develop the storms in the area they were in. So we kind of had not enough triggering mechanism to fire those storms in our location. So there you go. That's the reason why we did not get severe thunderstorms on, what day was it? June 13th, 2015, and we have more chances of severe weather still to come, and those would be in the days ahead. I'm thinking Thursday, maybe Friday, tomorrow and Friday. Those could have some severe wind and hail, as well as possible tornadoes with it, but I'm thinking that will be more Quad Cities point to the west. More as that develops.